Tonight, as you lie there, letting your body grow heavier against the bed, we'll drift back through time together to the life of a man whose voice once wrapped itself around the evenings of millions of people, turning ordinary nights into something tender and unforgettable. His name is Frank Sinatra, and this is not a story of fame or noise or bright lights, but a quiet walk through the memories of a life sung slowly into the heart of the world. Picture a small winter evening in Hoboken, New Jersey, almost a lifetime ago. The streets are dim, lit by lamps that give off a soft golden haze. Snowflakes fall lazily through the air, landing on cobblestones and rooftops, muffling sound and slowing everything down. Inside a modest apartment, a young boy sits by a window, watching the night settle over the city. His name is Francis, the son of Italian immigrants, and though he doesn't know it yet, the world will one day know him simply as Frank. For now, he is just a child in a small room, listening to the distant sounds of the city breathing, the quiet murmur of trains, the hush of the river, and the faint echo of music drifting from somewhere far away. The home is simple, but filled with warmth. The smell of food still lingers in the air from dinner, and the soft rhythm of conversation moves through the walls like a comforting hum. His mother, strong and determined, is a presence that steadies the household, while his father, quiet and steady, brings his own kind of calm. In the middle of it all is Frank, a boy with eyes that notice everything and a heart that feels more than he knows how to say. He finds himself drawn to music as though it were a secret language written just for him. Sometimes, late at night, he leans close to the family radio, the soft yellow light of its dial glowing in the darkness as if it were a small moon. Voices pour out of it, crooners, band leaders, orchestras swinging gently through melodies that seem to hang in the air like stars. Frank listens with all of himself. Each note feels like a hand reaching out. Each lyric feels like a story whispered directly to him. In those moments, wrapped in sound, he feels less alone, as if the world has more room for him than the tiny apartment might suggest. He begins to hum along, quietly at first, testing the shape of the notes on his tongue, feeling the rise and fall of melodies like the tide of his own breath. The music doesn't just entertain him, it soothes him, steadies him, fills the spaces that words can't reach. It becomes a kind of gentle refuge, a place he can always return to, no matter what the day has brought. There is a softness in the way he sings, even as a boy, a tenderness that seems to come from somewhere very deep inside. As he grows older, the streets of Hoboken become both his playground and his classroom. He walks along narrow sidewalks, passes corner shops and cafes, hears the shifting rhythm of different languages spoken in doorways and on stoops. Life is not easy, but it is real and textured, full of small details that sink into his memory. The clatter of dishes from open windows, the smell of bread baking nearby, the distant horns of boats on the river, and always, somewhere, the echo of music. These sounds layer themselves inside him, becoming the invisible backdrop of his future songs. He begins to sing for others now, not just for himself. At small gatherings, family events, tiny neighborhood spaces, he steps forward with a shy confidence, as though drawn by an invisible pull. When he opens his mouth, the room seems to change. People look up from their conversations. Time slows. There is something in his voice, even then, that makes people pause, a warmth, a sincerity, a way of holding a note that feels like a hand lingering on your shoulder a moment longer than expected. Frank feels it too. Singing becomes more than an activity. It feels like a calling, a quiet thread pulling him towards something larger. But there is nothing rushed about it. It doesn't arrive with a crash of lightning, just a gentle and persistent whisper. This is where you belong. Late at night, lying in his bed, staring at a ceiling that holds the shadows of the streetlights, he imagines what it might be like to stand in front of a band, to let his voice ride on waves of strings and horns, to sing to people he has never met and yet somehow understands. Those dreams follow him into sleep like soft, unfinished songs. As the years pass, the world outside his window grows louder, more unpredictable. The Great Depression settles over the country like a heavy fog, but even in difficult times, music survives. Dance halls, clubs, and ballrooms glow in the night as people step inside, searching for something that might lift the weight from their chests, even if only for a little while. Frank, now a young man, feels drawn to those places, not for the noise or the crowds, but for the bands and the singers who stand beneath soft, glowing lights, turning stories into sound. He watches them with quiet admiration, storing away every gesture, every phrasing, every subtle way they make a lyric feel like a confession. He starts to sing professionally, at first in small, almost hidden spaces. A little band here, a modest job there. There are setbacks, disappointments, nights when the applause is thin or indifferent, but there are also nights when something clicks, when the band finds the right tempo, when the audience grows hushed, when his voice feels perfectly at home inside the song. On those nights, he feels a kind of stillness inside, as if the universe has briefly aligned just to let him breathe out exactly what he was meant to share. Slowly, gently, his world widens. Opportunities arrive in quiet, unassuming ways. A recommendation, a chance encounter, a single performance that reaches the right pair of ears. One day, he finds himself joining a band that will carry him onto a bigger stage, under brighter but still tender lights. The orchestra of Tommy Dorsey. This is a turning point, though it doesn't come with fanfare in his heart. It feels instead like another step on a long, soft staircase he has been climbing in the dark. Traveling with the band, he learns to blend his voice with the swell of brass and the sigh of strings. He watches how melodies move through a room, how people lean closer during certain phrases, how silence can be as powerful as sound. Night after night, as they perform in ballrooms lit by soft chandeliers, he feels his craft deepening. The crowd sways. Couples hold each other a little closer, and Frank learns the quiet art of singing not just to a room, but to each person in it, as if every single one of them needs the song in a slightly different way. There is a particular magic in the way he breathes through long, gentle lines, as if the notes themselves are carried on a single, unbroken exhale. This control, this smoothness, becomes one of his signatures. Yet behind the technical skill is something more important, a genuine care for the lyric, for the story being told. He doesn't simply perform songs, he inhabits them. He lets the words settle in his chest and then releases them slowly, as though returning them to the world wrapped in his own quiet understanding. As time passes, the bandstands become stepping stones to something even larger. Frank's name begins to drift outward, carried by whispers, by records, by the soft crackle of radios in living rooms across the country. People begin to ask for him by name. They want to hear that particular voice, that gentle intimacy he brings to every song. It is as if, through him, the music finds a way to become more human, more familiar, more like a friend sitting beside you in the dark, talking with you instead of performing for you. His solo career blossoms like a slow sunrise. There are records, movies, performances that draw crowds dressed in their best, moving quietly into theaters and lounges, settling into seats with drinks in hand, waiting for the moment when the lights dim and the orchestra begins to murmur softly behind the curtain. Then he steps out, not with a shout, but with a simple presence that calms the room. In the glow of the spotlight, his tuxedo neat, his posture relaxed, yet attentive, he looks less like an unreachable star and more like an old friend who has come to sit with you for a while. When he sings, "I'll Never Smile Again," hearts ache gently because he taps into a sadness that feels honest and shared. When he sings "All of Me," there is a playful warmth, a soft smile behind the words. His voice becomes a vessel for every delicate corner of human feeling: loneliness, hope, regret, tenderness, longing, forgiveness. He does not rush the songs. Each one unfolds slowly, like a letter being opened by candlelight. Success brings new rooms, new cities, new faces. There are glamorous stages and bright, glittering signs. But behind the glow, there is always the same simple ritual: a man breathing in, a man breathing out, his voice moving gently through the air and into the hearts of those who need it. The world may call it stardom, but inside, it often feels to him like an ongoing intimate conversation, one that continues night after night, from one quiet soul to another. Of course, a life like this is not made only of smooth lines and gentle applause. There are shadows too, times when the spotlight feels harsh, when expectations weigh heavily on his shoulders, when private struggles tug at his heart just as surely as melodies once did. There are periods when his career dips, when critics turn away, when applause grows thinner and more distant. During those times, the nights feel longer, the silence after the show a little louder. Yet even in those valleys, music remains. It waits for him, patient, like an old friend sitting on a park bench at dusk, ready to begin again whenever he's ready to listen. Slowly, he finds his way back, not through sudden explosions of success, but through quiet resilience, through returning to the songs, the craft, the simple act of standing before a microphone and giving himself to each note. In time, there is a resurgence, a renewal of interest, and once more his voice rises softly over orchestras and small combos, reminding the world of the calming power he carries within his sound. He records albums that feel like late-night conversations, collections of songs about love lost and found, about the ache of memory and the quiet acceptance that comes with age. These recordings often feel like they were made for the evening, for the hours when the city is winding down, when lights are being turned off one by one, and people are left alone with their thoughts. He becomes, for many, the companion of those hours, the voice that fills the silence just enough to make it gentle rather than heavy. In his personal life, too, there are complexities, relationships that bloom and wither, friendships that twist and evolve, moments of joy scattered among times of loneliness. And yet, through it all, there remains a steadiness in his art, in the simple act of stepping onto a stage and singing what needs to be sung. It is a kind of devotion, not only to music, but to the people who find solace in it. As he grows older, his voice changes. It deepens, grows more textured, gaining a certain fragility at the edges. But with that change comes new colors, new emotional threads woven into the music. When he sings in later years, there is a sense of reflection, of having lived through the lyrics he once approached as a young man full of possibility. Now, the songs carry the weight of memory, the softness of someone who has seen much, lost much, loved much, and somehow found his way through. Picture him in a softly lit room, perhaps in a recording studio. Late at night, the band is set up around him, instruments gleaming under gentle lamps. There's a hush in the air as the musicians prepare. He stands in front of the microphone, hands lightly resting at his sides. The first notes from the piano drift out, slow and tender, and he closes his eyes for a moment, letting the music wash over him. Then he begins to sing, and the room seems to exhale. There is no rush. Each word is allowed to arrive, to linger, and then to float away, leaving behind a feeling more than a specific thought. The years pass, and the world changes. New styles of music rise and fall. New voices take the stage. Yet somewhere, in homes across the world, people still lie down at night and choose to let his voice be the last one they hear before sleep. They put on a record or a playlist of his songs, and suddenly the room feels warmer, more like home. Even decades after those songs were first recorded, the intimacy remains. His phrasing still feels like someone reaching across a table to take your hand. Imagine now that you are one of those people lying in your own quiet space, listening not to a single song, but to the story of the life behind all those melodies. You can feel how the journey from a small boy by a radio in Hoboken to a man whose voice wrapped itself around entire generations wasn't built on speed or noise, but on patience, on listening, on letting feelings rise slowly to the surface. In the same way, your own breath now begins to slow, following the rhythm of the story, sinking into a quieter pace. You notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the way the air feels cool as it enters, warm as it leaves. The world around you grows softer at the edges. The light in your room, whether real or imagined, feels dim and soothing, like the last glow of a lamp on a bedside table. In that soft light, you can almost picture him, a man in a simple chair, perhaps near a window, the city outside dark and calm, his eyes half closed as he remembers the long arc of his life. He might think of the nights on stage, the shimmering applause that faded into quiet once he stepped back into his dressing room. He might recall the feeling of first hearing himself played on the radio, of realizing that his voice had traveled into homes he would never see. He might think of love found and lost, of friendships tested and treasured, of the countless times he stood beneath warm lights and gave everything he had to a single song, hoping it might mean something to someone. And in those memories, there is a kind of peace, not the peace of a life without struggle, but the peace of having lived fully inside one's own path, of having turned personal feeling into something that could comfort others. His story becomes, in that way, not just his own, but something shared, an offering, a gentle gift left behind in the form of sound. As our journey through his life comes to rest, imagine the city outside your own window now. Perhaps it is quiet, perhaps there are distant noises, but more than anything, it feels far away. Inside this small space of light and darkness where you lie, there is only the present moment, wrapped in a soft blanket of memory and song. The story of Frank Sinatra, of the boy who listened to the radio, the young man who stood with an orchestra, the artist who poured his heart into every note, has settled gently around you like a familiar melody. Allow that melody to guide you deeper into stillness. Feel your muscles loosen a little more. Let your jaw unclench, your shoulders sink, your hands rest heavily wherever they've chosen to pause. There is nothing left you need to hold up or hold on to. Just as he let go of each song the moment it left his lips, you can let go of this day, releasing it softly into the darkness. Your breathing, slow and even now, becomes the only rhythm you have to follow. Inhale and feel the comfort of this moment fill you. Exhale and let the weight of your thoughts drift away, like smoke rising and disappearing into the night sky. If a stray worry appears, you can let it pass by like a distant train, heard for a moment and then gone. There is no need to chase it. The story has done its work. The night is here to hold you. Somewhere, in a memory preserved on tape, his voice is still singing, gentle, unhurried, intimate. But here, in your room, all you need is the echo of that spirit, the calm, the tenderness, the feeling of being accompanied through your own quiet hours. His life, with all its rises and falls, its lights and shadows, becomes a reminder that every heart carries music and every life leaves behind a kind of song. Let that thought be the last one you hold tonight. A simple, soft knowing that you too are part of this long, slow, human melody, that you're allowed to rest, that you are allowed to be exactly where you are, as you are, in this moment. Now, as your eyes grow heavier and the space between thoughts stretches wider, you can let yourself slip gently over the edge of wakefulness. There is no need to force it. Sleep will come the way a song ends, not with a sharp stop, but with a final note that fades slowly into silence. You are already almost there, hovering in that sweet, weightless space where the mind loosens and the body surrenders to rest. Let the last traces of the story dissolve into the darkness. Let the night hold you with the same care that he once held every lyric. Let your breath be the only sound that matters, a quiet, steady rhythm carrying you away. And as you drift, slowly and peacefully, into deep, comforting sleep, you can imagine, far in the distance, a soft voice saying goodnight, not to the crowd, not to the world, but just to you in this quiet, gentle moment where everything is calm and you are finally beautifully at ease. And so, as the soft memory of his voice settles into the quiet spaces around you, imagine the rest of his life unfolding like a warm night breeze, slow, unhurried, carrying with it the scent of old stages, dim lights, and the lingering echo of applause that fades gently into silence. Frank's later years were not a blaze of noise or brightness, but a steady glow, like embers that continue to warm long after the fire has settled. His journey once defined by rising crescendos and swelling strings, softened into something quieter, more reflective, more deeply human. He learned, with time, that the world changes no matter how tightly we hold on to it. The bright and youthful vibrance of swing gave way to new sounds, new rhythms, new voices. But Frank understood something deeper than trends. He understood that emotion, when delivered honestly, never goes out of style, and so he sang with a kind of timelessness, as though each lyric were suspended in a gentle moment untouched by the rush of the world around him. There were nights when he stepped onto a stage lined with velvet curtains, the orchestra waiting in the dim glow of warm lamps. He would take his place at the microphone, adjusting it slightly, feeling the weight of the room settle, and then, with a slow inhale, he would let the first note drift out, a note so soft and steady that time seemed to pause just to listen. The audience, no matter how large or small, felt the shift instantly. They leaned into the quiet, feeling themselves wrapped in something familiar, safe, comforting. The older he grew, the more tender his singing became. There was no need to prove anything, no need to reach for perfection or to impress. Instead, he sang like a man offering pieces of his own memory, little fragments of joy, sorrow, hope, and forgiveness, all woven together into melodies that drifted through the air like fireflies in slow motion. His voice carried the softness of someone who had lived deeply and loved deeply, who knew the weight of time and the beauty hidden inside it. Off stage, he found solace in the simplicity of life, quiet dinners with close friends, evenings spent listening to music not his own, slow walks through familiar places where no one asked him to be anyone but himself. There were moments when he would sit outdoors beneath a dark sky, looking up at the stars with the same wonder he once felt as a boy listening to the radio glow in a quiet Hoboken apartment. In that stillness, life felt gentle again, easy to hold, easy to release. As the years continued, he learned the art of letting go softly, of passing the microphone to a new generation, of choosing rest over spotlight, of understanding that every song has a final note. But even as he stepped away from the grand stages, the world never stepped away from him. His music continued to drift out of radios, speakers, restaurants, quiet living rooms where people slow danced beneath soft light. His voice, recorded in 1,000 timeless moments, became a companion to evenings around the world, a presence that felt like warmth settling across someone's shoulders. Imagine now that he is older, sitting in a room filled with gentle lamplight. The walls are lined with memories, photographs, records, little pieces of a life lived fully. He sits by a window, the night outside calm and wide, and he exhales softly, his breath steady. There is contentment in his eyes, not the flashy kind of success, but the peaceful kind that comes from knowing you've given the world something meaningful. He closes his eyes for a moment, listening to the silence, and it feels like listening to the spaces between notes in a slow ballad, full, rich, comforting. He thinks back to childhood winters, to the glow of a radio dial, to the narrow streets of Hoboken, and the small moments that shaped him long before the world knew his name. He thinks of all the people who found comfort in his songs, who leaned on his voice during heartbreak, who celebrated with him during joy, who fell asleep listening to him breathe life into melodies that felt like home. And in that reflection, he feels a kind of soft gratitude, as if life itself is humming quietly inside him. Even as age gently folded itself around his shoulders, his presence never dimmed. People continued to hold him close, not as an untouchable star, but as someone whose voice had become intertwined with their own memories. Weddings, slow dances, quiet evenings, long drives, late-night reflections, all carried his sound, like a steady heartbeat beneath the noise of life. He had become less of a performer and more of a companion, a soft voice that made the world feel smaller, warmer, more familiar. And on the nights when he could no longer sing, the music still lived inside him. He would tap his fingers lightly on the arm of a chair, following rhythms only he could hear. Sometimes he would hum a few lines, quiet and breathy, almost like a lullaby. Those around him smiled in those moments, feeling the gentle thread of connection that had woven through his entire life, a thread made of melody, memory, and an unshakable devotion to emotion. In his final years, as the world continued to turn, he allowed himself to rest more often. Days passed slowly, peacefully, like soft clouds drifting across a pale sky. The urgency of youth had long faded, replaced by a deep appreciation for stillness. Life no longer felt like a performance. It felt like a soft evening, settling over everything, asking nothing, offering everything. And when the moment finally came for him to step away from the world completely, he did so the same way he had lived, gently, quietly, wrapped in the warm echo of the music that had carried him from childhood to old age. The world mourned him, of course, but the sorrow was softened by the knowledge that his voice remained, timeless, intimate, eternal, a soft light in the night, a warm presence in countless rooms, a melody that would never truly fade. Even now, long after he has gone, his music continues to move through the world like a calm river. People still press play on quiet nights. They still slow dance in kitchens with lights turned low. They still lie in bed, letting his voice settle over them like a blanket of sound. They still find comfort, peace, nostalgia, belonging. His songs have become something more than recordings. They are places you can return to gently whenever the world feels too loud. And here, in this moment, as you lie quietly, feeling your breath rise and fall, the story becomes part of your own stillness. You can feel the soft weight of the night around you, the dim glow of an imagined lamp, the warmth of a voice that once soothed millions. Let the memory of his life wrap around you like a slow, tender chorus. Let the calm settle into your muscles, your mind, your breath. Let the world fall away. You are safe here. You are held here. You are drifting now, slowly, softly, toward a deeper calm. The story continues inside you, but only as a whisper, a soft echo of a timeless voice, a gentle hum beneath your heartbeat, a companion in the quietest corners of the night. Rest now. You are allowed to. The night has you, and the music goes on. And as the memory of his life continues to drift gently through the quiet, you can imagine the world slowly reshaping itself around the legacy he left behind. Even after Frank stepped away from the stage, his presence lingered like a soft echo in the corners of people's lives, a familiar warmth that returned whenever they needed something steady to hold on to. His songs played in cafes, where the morning light filtered through windows like pale gold. They played in dimmed living rooms where couples held each other in the soft hush of evening. They played in cars traveling long distances on lonely roads, filling the silence with something tender and human. Music has a way of stretching across time, carrying pieces of the people who created it. In Frank's case, his voice became a gentle bridge, connecting past to present, memory to emotion, longing to peace. Listeners who had grown old with his music found comfort in hearing him again, as if an old friend had returned to sit quietly beside them. Younger generations discovered him like a hidden treasure, their hearts recognizing a softness in his tone that transcended the years. Through every era, every change, every shift in the world, his sound remained steady, anchored in authenticity and emotion. Imagine someone, years after his passing, standing in a quiet kitchen late at night. The room is dim except for a small lamp, casting a warm amber glow across the counter. They press play, and suddenly a familiar warmth fills the air, his voice emerging from the speakers with the same intimacy it held decades before. The listener closes their eyes, and for a moment, the world feels gentler, less sharp, less hurried. The music wraps around them like a soft shawl, comforting and familiar. Perhaps they sway slightly, breathing more slowly, letting the memories settle like dust in warm light. In that moment, Frank is there, not in body, but in presence, in feeling. His voice becomes a companion in solitude, a quiet reassurance that no one is ever truly alone. In some ways, his influence only grew after he was gone. His songs became the soundtrack of weddings, anniversaries, quiet dinners, and peaceful nights spent wrapped in blankets. People played his music during celebrations, during heartbreak, during the simple ritual of winding down after a long day. His voice became woven into the private rituals of life, the slow dance in a living room, the soft whisper of a song shared between lovers, the quiet moment before sleep when the world finally loosens its grip. Through all of it, his presence felt steady, like the glow of a candle, flickering gently in the dark. And perhaps this is the true magic of someone like Frank, someone who lived a life so intertwined with music that even when the person is gone, the feeling they created lingers. It floats in the air long after the final note fades. It settles into hearts and memories with a warmth that doesn't dim. People may forget specific lyrics, or the order of albums, or the dates of performances, but they never forget how his voice made them feel. That softness, that tenderness remains. Over time, the world continued its slow rotation, carrying new generations into their own lives, their own stories. Yet in countless homes, his records remained on shelves, worn at the edges, their covers faded, their grooves touched by decades of hands. Some records belonged to grandparents, passed down through families like heirlooms of sentiment rather than objects. Others were discovered in thrift stores by people who didn't yet know why they were drawn to them, only that something about the name, the look, the history whispered to them softly. And when they placed the needle on the spinning vinyl, the crackle of time dissolved into the warmth of a voice they instantly recognized, as if they had heard it in a dream long before. It is in moments like that, a quiet room, soft lamplight, the gentle hum of a spinning record, that you understand how deeply music weaves itself into the fabric of human life, how it becomes a thread connecting hearts across years, across generations, across distances that can't be measured in miles. Frank's music did exactly that. It traveled, it comforted, it held people gently through nights that felt too long, through mornings heavy with emotion, through memories that needed something soft to accompany them. Imagine yourself now in that same soft glow, your body resting, your breath settling, your mind unfolding slowly like a flower opening at dusk. The night around you feels calm and safe, held in a stillness that seems to echo the quiet moments of Frank's later years. You can almost picture him sitting in a chair near a window, watching the city fade into night, humming softly to himself, not performing, not entertaining, just being, just existing in the peaceful rhythm of a life that has known both intensity and silence. There is something profoundly comforting about imagining him this way. A man once surrounded by crowds, by lights, by the demands of fame, now surrounded by stillness, by quiet, by the soft murmur of memory. In that stillness, he becomes more human, more familiar, more like someone you could sit beside and talk to in a low voice, sharing stories not of grandeur, but of simple human moments: joy, regret, love, longing, gratitude. His story leaves behind not a sense of loss, but a softness, a warmth, a deep sigh that settles in your bones. It feels like a reminder that lives are not defined only by their brightest moments, but by the quiet ones too, the ones spent listening, reflecting, loving in ways that may never be seen but are always felt. His life, with all its curves and shadows, becomes a companion to your own quiet journey through this night. And as you lay there, breathing slowly, you can let that feeling settle deeper. Let the melody of his life blend with the rhythm of your breath. Let the images, his childhood window glowing softly, the stages bathed in warm light, the late night reflections in quiet rooms, drift through your mind like gentle waves. Nothing needs to be clear, nothing needs to be precise, just sensations, impressions, emotions drifting through you like soft colors in the dark. Your body grows heavier now, sinking more deeply into the bed. Your limbs loosen, your eyelids soften, thoughts become less like words and more like distant shapes, moving slowly through a quiet landscape. You don't need to hold on to them. You can let them move, let them fade, let them dissolve like smoke in moonlight. His story is still here, but now it blends with the calm, settling over you, becoming part of the atmosphere in your room, a soft hum beneath the silence, a steady presence beside your breath, a gentle reassurance that you can let go, that the night will hold you the way music held so many hearts, tenderly, patiently, without asking anything in return. And as you drift deeper, you can feel the weight of the day slipping away. Each exhale becomes a release. Each inhale becomes a quiet invitation into deeper rest. The night welcomes you with open arms, embracing you the same way his songs once embraced the world, with warmth, with softness, with the simple promise that everything is okay and you are safe to fall asleep. As the night stretches deeper around you, the story of his life settles softly, like dust drifting through a beam of warm light in a quiet room. By now, you can feel the way his journey blends with the rhythm of your own breath, slow and steady, moving gently through the stillness. The world outside fades, the edges of your thoughts dissolve, and all that remains is the calm unfolding of memory, his memory, woven into the peaceful dark. In the last years of his life, Frank embraced a kind of gentleness that only time can teach. He no longer rushed toward stages or bright lights. Instead, he moved with a slower rhythm, one that matched the soft turning of the earth at dusk. He spent time with family, with old friends, with the precious familiarity of places that had become anchors in a life full of movement. There was a quiet wisdom in him, a softness that came from decades of standing close to the world, feeling its beauty and its weight. Imagine him now, in the fading light of an evening long past. He sits outside on a terrace, perhaps somewhere where the breeze is warm and the sky opens wide like a gentle ocean of dusk. The horizon glows with soft oranges and deep purples, colors melting into one another with the same smoothness that once carried through his phrasing. He breathes in slowly, feeling the world settle around him. The chair beneath him is simple. The air is calm. There is nothing to prove, nothing to chase, nothing to hold, except the present moment, quiet and whole. He looks out over the view, his eyes tracing the line where the sky touches the earth. And in that silence, memories come to him not as sharp scenes, but as soft waves rolling gently onto a shore. He thinks of the faces of crowds, the laughter of musicians, the glow of a stage lights warming his skin, the feel of a microphone resting calmly in his hand. He thinks of the early mornings when he would step outside after a long night of performing, the streets empty, the air cool, the world quiet, as if catching its breath after holding him for so many hours. Some memories carry joy, others carry longing, but none of them bring regret. Instead, they flow through him like a warm tide, reminding him that life, with all its imperfections and unpredictabilities, is simply a collection of moments, some bright, some shadowed, all meaningful in their own way. He understands now that what lasts is not the applause or the fame, but the quiet connections made through emotion, the invisible threads woven between hearts through the simple act of singing a truth someone else needed to hear. As the evening deepens, he hums to himself, softly, almost imperceptibly. Not a performance, not a song meant for anyone else, but a gentle echo of the music that lived inside him for as long as he could remember. The notes drift into the warm air, disappearing almost as soon as they are born, like fireflies fading into the dusk. And yet, even in their brief existence, they carry a sense of peace, of completeness, of gratitude. In this quiet, the world feels slow and padded, every sound softened by distance. A small bird calls out in the trees. Leaves rustle just slightly, moving as though stirred by a sigh. Somewhere far away, a faint melody from a neighbor's radio floats through the air. A familiar tune, one he himself once sang. He smiles at the sound, not with pride, but with tenderness, as if overhearing a gentle reminder that music travels farther than footsteps ever could. Later, he returns inside where the house is still and dimly lit. Lamps cast golden pools of light across the furniture. A record player sits in the corner, surrounded by stacks of albums. He runs a finger lightly along them, feeling the texture of the cardboard, the subtle ridges at the edges. Each album holds a chapter of his life, moments frozen in grooves and ink, captured not in words, but in emotion. He chooses one without thinking, sets it on the turntable, and lowers the needle. The familiar crackle fills the air, soft as rain on a roof. before the first warm note blooms into the room, he sits back, closing his eyes, letting his younger voice wash over him. It feels distant, like a memory caught in a dream, but also close, comforting, familiar, a companion that has followed him through every season of life. Listening now, he doesn't hear perfection or technique. He hears the boy from Hoboken, the young man standing beside Tommy Dorsey's orchestra, the performer moving through decades of sound and emotion. He hears not just a voice, but a life unfolding, a life lived sincerely, even in its imperfections. The house grows darker as the night deepens, and yet the music seems to cast its own soft glow, illuminating not the room, but the feeling within it. He remains there for a long time, doing nothing but breathing, listening, remembering. Each note seems to float in the air a little longer than expected, stretching the moment gently, inviting him and anyone listening to rest inside it. The world outside continues on, but here, in this quiet room, time feels suspended, held softly in place by the slow turn of a record. Later still, perhaps as the last track ends, he rises and turns the lights even lower. The house settles into a peaceful hush, and he moves through it with the ease of someone who has learned how to befriend silence. At a window, he pauses again, looking out into the dark. The sky above is full of stars, some bright, some faint, all distant and quiet. And yet, in their stillness, there is a sense of connection, as if every star holds a memory, a moment, a fragment of a song. He breathes deeply. The air is cool. The night is wide, and everything feels softly, beautifully complete. When sleep finally calls to him, it comes not suddenly, but gently, like a slow tide rising around his feet. He lets it take him with the same trust he once gave to the music, surrendering to the softness of the hour. And in that moment, as he drifts into rest, he becomes not a legend, not a celebrity, not a symbol of an era, but simply a man, tired and content, settling into the quiet arms of the night. Years have passed since that moment, but the feeling remains. His story lingers, not in the noise of fame, but in the silence that follows, in the calm that spreads through a room when one of his songs begins to play. It lives in the gentle sway of someone washing dishes as a vinyl spins nearby. It lives in the slow dance of an older couple in their living room, their hands trembling, but their hearts steady. It lives in the quiet breathing of someone lying in bed right now, letting the memory of his music deepen their rest. You can feel that same softness now, wrapping itself around you like a warm blanket. Each breath becomes slower, quieter, more tender. The night feels not empty, but peaceful, filled with the gentle hum of distant memories and the steady pulse of your heartbeat. You are not thinking anymore. You are drifting, drifting the way a note drifts through the air before fading into stillness. Let yourself fall deeper into that quiet, deeper into that warmth, deeper into the soft echo of everything he left behind. Nothing is rushed here. Nothing is forced. You are held. You are safe. You are allowed to let go. And as the soft hush of the night continues to fold around you like a warm, familiar blanket, the memory of his presence drifts further into the peaceful quiet, becoming not a story anymore, but a gentle feeling that spreads through the room. You can sense how the world, for many years after he was gone, still carried him in the small gestures of life, the way someone hummed while washing evening dishes, the rhythm of a couple moving together under dim lights, the quiet comfort people found in songs that had once filled ballrooms and theaters, now whispering softly from an old speaker at the edge of a quiet bedroom. His voice continued to be a companion to those who needed something soft to hold on to in the stillness of the night. Imagine a quiet home somewhere, far from the noise of the city, a house with creaking wooden floors and windows that look out over a yard where the wind moves gently through tall grass. Inside, a woman in her 70s moves slowly through her evening routine. She reaches for a vinyl record, one she has played more times than she can count, and places it with care onto the turntable. The room is dark except for a small lamp on a side table, its glow stretching across the walls like melted gold. The record crackles softly. Then his voice arrives, warm and familiar, filling the space like a memory she never lost. She closes her eyes, sways lightly, letting old feelings rise gently from the past without rushing or sharpness. The music softens her breath. It steadies her hands. It makes the room feel like a place where time no longer matters. Or imagine a young man driving home late at night, the highway stretching endlessly in front of him. Streetlights passing overhead, one by one like slow, rhythmic stars. He turns on the radio, hoping for something to ease the weight of his thoughts. And then, through the speakers, a familiar melody emerges. Smooth, slow, sincere. He relaxes his grip on the steering wheel. His breath deepens. The tension in his shoulders dissolves just a little. He doesn't know why this voice brings comfort, only that it does. The music feels like a gentle hand resting on his chest, reminding him to breathe, reminding him that even long roads eventually lead somewhere softer. This is the quiet power of a life lived close to emotion, a life that reached people not through force or volume, but through a careful, tender understanding of what it means to be human. Frank's music carried joy, but also longing, confidence, but also vulnerability, smoothness, but also the small tremor of someone who loved deeply and felt deeply. It carried the truth that even those who seem strong are made of softness inside, and listeners, even without knowing him personally, recognized themselves in that softness. Over decades, his songs wove themselves into the fabric of countless lives. They became lullabies for some, romantic soundtracks for others, healing companions for those moving through heartbreak, and nostalgic anchors for people remembering times now folded into the pages of yesterday. And all of this, every connection, every memory, went on long after he himself stepped into the quiet of the night. This is what remains when a life is lived with sincerity, not the noise of fame, but the warmth left behind in the hearts of others. Think of how a song moves through a room, slowly, gently, settling into corners, filling spaces without overwhelming them. His legacy feels the same. It moves quietly, respectfully, like someone entering a room and sitting down beside you without saying a word, offering comfort simply through presence. It is the kind of influence that doesn't demand attention, but simply stays, like the lingering glow of a candle, even after the flame goes out. And now, lying here, with your breath deepening and your body growing heavier, you can let that same gentleness seep into your own night. Feel the way the rhythm of the story has slowed your thoughts, softened your edges, created a space inside you where rest can settle without resistance. You don't need to think about him anymore. You don't need to think about anything. Just let the memory of his life drift through your mind like a soft breeze that passes over water, leaving faint ripples that fade into stillness. Your breathing is slow now, steady, peaceful. The world around you has quieted. Your body has surrendered its weight, and in this quiet place, between waking and dreaming, his story becomes less of a biography and more of a feeling, a calm presence, a soft reassurance, a gentle echo reminding you that every life contains music and every night contains room for rest. You are drifting now, not because the story is ending, but because it is blending seamlessly with your own need for sleep. There is nothing left to hold, nothing left to analyze, nothing left to remember. Just this moment, quiet and whole. Just this breath, slow and warm. Just this peaceful part of the night that asks for nothing but your surrender. Let yourself drift deeper. Let yourself loosen the last threads of the day. Let the quiet surround you the way a soft song fills a room. You are safe. You are calm. You are allowed to fall asleep gently, beautifully, at your own pace. And as the soft quiet of the night settles even deeper, the memory of his story stretches out like a gentle horizon beneath a dark, star-scattered sky. You can feel how the atmosphere around you has softened, how every breath you take becomes slower, smoother, as though the story itself were breathing with you. The world grows distant now, dissolving into a tender blur of stillness, and all that remains is this long, unhurried drift through the lingering warmth of a life that once moved so many hearts. Somewhere in the world, even years after he stepped into silence, people still find themselves reaching for his music without even thinking about why. In tiny apartments where city lights flicker through half-closed curtains, someone sits beside a window on a quiet evening, watching the world fade into soft silhouettes. They put on one of his songs, not loudly, not to fill the room, but just enough for the melody to settle like a warm glow. The voice arrives gently, and suddenly the loneliness of the night feels lighter, softened by that familiar sound that seems to understand emotions too delicate for words. In another home, far away from cities, perhaps on a small farm or a quiet rural road, an older man sits at a kitchen table long after everyone else has gone to sleep. The only light comes from a lamp above the stove, casting a golden pool across the wooden floor. He slides a CD into an old player and closes his eyes as the first notes drift forward. The music feels like a bridge to a younger version of himself, a version that once danced, once dreamed, once held someone he loved in his arms as they turned slowly to the rhythm of the song. And in that moment, even if just for a breath, time folds gently, allowing memory and presence to rest side by side. This is what his life became in the world after him. Not a loud echo, not a monument carved in stone, but a warm thread that continued weaving itself into the evenings, the quiet moments, the gentle pauses of ordinary lives. His story lived on in whispers, in soft lights, in the quiet places where people retreat when the day grows heavy. And because his voice carried such sincerity, it became a companion for those who needed something steady to hold on to. You can almost imagine him now, not as a performer standing in front of a grand orchestra, but as a quiet presence moving through the twilight of memory. Perhaps he walks through a dim room where the air is cool and still. Perhaps he stands by a window looking out over a sleeping city, the soft glow of street lamps reflecting in his eyes. There is no applause now, no cameras or crowds, only the peaceful rhythm of night and the gentle acceptance of a life fully lived. His breathing slows, his thoughts soften, and the world around him becomes as calm as a held note fading into silence. In the rooms where his voice still plays, people may not speak his name, yet they feel him in every sigh between verses, in every delicate shift of tone, in every slow, suspended moment where it feels like the music itself is inhaling. His presence lingers in those spaces, a quiet tenderness reaching across years, across distances, across hearts that never met him but somehow understand him. Imagine now that his legacy floats like a soft mist through a vast landscape, moving over quiet lakes where the moonlight shimmers, drifting across rooftops of sleeping neighborhoods, slipping through open windows where people rest beneath blankets, the night cool against their cheeks. His music becomes part of that landscape, part of the calm, part of the quiet invitation to breathe deeply and surrender to rest. And you can allow yourself to drift with it. You can feel how the rhythm of the story has slowed to match the rhythm of your breath. Longer exhales, deeper inhales, each one pulling you further into the warm stillness settling inside you. There is no need to hold on to anything now. The day has already slipped away like a tide withdrawing from shore. Your thoughts are lighter, softer, unfolding like petals that release one by one into darkness. In this softness, his story is no longer just about him. It becomes a gentle mirror for your own quiet moments, reminding you that it's okay to slow down, okay to let go, okay to rest. There is a timeless comfort in knowing that every life, no matter how grand or simple, eventually finds its way into peace. That every journey, no matter how far it travels, ends in a quiet place where the heart can finally exhale. Let yourself feel that now. The exhale, the release, the easy surrender of a body that no longer needs to stay alert. Your muscles loosen, melting into the surface beneath you. Your eyelids grow heavy, drifting closed in slow waves. Your thoughts float like tiny lights, moving out across a dark lake, spreading farther and farther until they fade into the distance and dissolve entirely. You are safe here. You are drifting. You are being carried by the night. Nothing is pulling you back. Nothing is asking you to wake. You can give in to this gentle weightlessness because this moment belongs entirely to your rest. And as you continue to sink deeper, you feel the last threads of the story weaving themselves into the quiet space around your heart, not to keep you awake, but to guide you softly, tenderly, into the deepest layers of sleep, where even dreams move slowly, like lanterns floating on calm water. And now, as the quiet stretches even farther into the night, the story softens into something almost weightless, like a thin veil drifting gently over your mind. There is no urgency in the air, no sharpness or edges, just a slow unfolding of calm that fills the space around you with the same warmth his music once brought into dimly lit rooms. The world has fallen silent, and the only movement left is the steady rhythm of your breath drifting in and out, like waves touching a quiet shore. In the years after, Frank slipped quietly into the peaceful end of his journey. The world continued to hold his memory with a kind of tenderness that only grows stronger with time. People still reached for his songs when they needed comfort, still let his voice guide them through evenings that felt too heavy, still found themselves swaying gently to melodies that carried emotions they couldn't always name. His presence became less like a figure from the past and more like a soft companion walking alongside those who sought solace in the soft glow of music. Imagine a young couple in their first home together, the rooms still mostly empty, the air filled with the mingled scent of cardboard boxes and fresh paint. The night is calm, and they sit on the floor beside a small speaker, leaning against each other as one of his slow, tender songs drifts into the room. They don't need to speak. The music carries everything: hope, vulnerability, love unfolding in its earliest form. They hold each other quietly, letting the sound weave a memory they'll return to for years. The melody becomes part of their story, a gentle thread tying their hearts to a moment of peace. Or picture someone older now, living alone in a house filled with photographs and soft colors. They move slowly through their evening routine, brushing hands across furniture that holds decades of warmth. When they sit down to rest, they press play on a playlist filled with his songs, and the room seems to exhale with them. Each note feels like a familiar voice, reminding them of times when everything was simpler, slower, more certain. The music steadies their breath, easing the loneliness that sometimes settles in the corners of the night. In hospitals, too, where lights remain dim and time moves differently, families have played his music at bedsides, letting the slow, steady melodies wrap around loved ones as if offering a gentle, comforting hand. The songs do not need to heal or change anything. They simply provide presence, warmth, a reminder that even in tender moments of vulnerability, we are not alone. The softness of his voice becomes a reassurance, a whisper that everything is peaceful now. This is the kind of legacy that moves quietly, without demanding attention. It lives in the subtle places, between the heartbeats of memory, in the hush of late-night kitchens, in the slow sway of someone dancing alone in the dark. His influence doesn't shout. It hums. It breathes. It lingers. Much like the way night settles over a city, unnoticed at first, then suddenly everywhere, softening every sound. And now, imagine that his memory drifts like a warm breeze through a quiet landscape, carrying with it the scent of old vinyl, the faint glow of dim lights, the gentle murmur of orchestras tuning their instruments. You can feel the sweetness of nostalgia brushing lightly across your mind, like fingertips tracing the outline of something once loved and never lost. His life becomes a quiet light in the dark, steady, comforting, familiar. Your breath continues to slow, matching the soft cadence of this long remembering. With each inhale, you feel the night filling your chest with peace. With each exhale, you let go of anything that still clings to you from the day. The muscles in your arms loosen, your legs grow heavier, your thoughts become faint and thin, drifting into the background like faraway echoes. The story becomes less about him and more about the quiet space it creates around you. You can imagine him walking through a dreamlike version of the world now, a world where the air is always warm, where the lights are always low, where music drifts from open windows like invisible silk. He moves unhurriedly, not as a star, not as a man burdened by expectation, but simply as a quiet presence wandering through the soft edges of memory. His steps are slow, his breathing is calm, His silhouette fades gently into golden light, becoming part of everything peaceful about the night. Feel how your own body follows this same slowing. Feel how your breath stretches farther between each inhale. Feel how your mind releases its grip, no longer needing to hold shape or story. The night welcomes you deeper, the way a gentle rhythm welcomes a final note. There's nothing left to do, nothing left to think, nothing left to carry. You are drifting now, further and further into the quiet that lives beneath thought, a quiet older than memory, softer than music, deeper than the world outside. And the story simply holds your hand as you go. And now, as the quiet deepens into something almost dreamlike, the story begins to dissolve into softer and softer shapes, leaving only the lingering warmth of memory floating gently through the night. There is no rush anymore, no direction that needs to be followed, only the slow unfolding of calm that wraps around you like a warm blanket settling perfectly over tired shoulders. The world fades into a muted glow, and the gentle presence of his legacy drifts like a soft cloud through the stillness. Long after he stepped away from the lights of the stage, the world continued to feel the subtle echo of his influence, not through headlines or noise, but through small, tender moments tucked quietly into everyday life. A record spinning slowly in a dim room, a quiet conversation between two people, recalling how a single song once marked the beginning of their love. A child listening for the first time to a voice that sounds both ancient and familiar, unaware of history, but instinctively drawn to the softness of emotion carried through the notes. Music has a way of traveling where words cannot. It moves through hallways of the heart that remain untouched by time, opening doors that might have been closed for years. His songs did exactly that. They slipped through generations like a gentle stream flowing beneath bridges, smoothing stones, leaving reflections wherever the water passed. Even those who did not know him personally felt a sense of recognition, as if the tenderness in his tone spoke directly to parts of themselves they rarely acknowledged. Imagine a small bar on a quiet street, the kind of place where conversations stay low and gentle, where warm lights glow above polished wood. A few people sit scattered around the room, shoulders relaxed, voices soft. From somewhere behind the counter, an old speaker plays a collection of his ballads. The sound is low, barely above a whisper, yet everyone feels it. The bartender polishes a glass in slow circles, humming almost unconsciously. A couple speaks quietly, pausing as familiar notes drift through the air. Someone sitting alone at a corner table closes their eyes for a moment, letting the music soothe a heaviness they didn't know they carried. In that quiet bar, the world feels softer, as though wrapped in the gentle arms of a memory. Or picture a nighttime flight, the cabin dimmed and peaceful, passengers wrapped in blankets as the sky outside fades into endless darkness. In one of those narrow seats, a person leans their head against the window, watching distant city lights flicker like stars scattered across the earth. They put on headphones, scroll through songs, and settle on one of his. The first warm notes begin, and suddenly the cramped space feels larger, the air lighter, the heart calmer. The music becomes a soft companion for the long journey, guiding the listener through the darkness with the steady comfort of something familiar. That is the nature of a legacy built on emotion. It does not end. It simply changes form, expanding into all the quiet spaces where people seek warmth. His voice, recorded with care so many years ago, continues to flow gently into countless nights, countless rooms, countless hearts. It becomes part of the background of human experience, a soft glow that never truly fades. And now, as you lie here, you can feel the same glow settling into your own night. Your breath has slowed into a peaceful rhythm, like a tide that no longer rises quickly, but drifts in long, smooth waves. The weight of your body sinks deeper into the surface beneath you. Your mind loosens its hold, thoughts stretching thin, drifting apart, dissolving like mist in early morning light. The story is no longer something you follow. It's something you float inside, supported by its calm, guided by its softness. You might even imagine yourself standing in the quiet world his music touched, a world shaped by warm lamplight and gentle shadows, where every sound feels softened by distance. Perhaps you walk through a peaceful room filled with old vinyl records, their covers lined neatly along wooden shelves. Perhaps you sit beside a window as night settles outside, listening to a faint melody floating through the air. Or perhaps you simply stand still, feeling the subtle warmth of nostalgia wrap around you, reminding you that memories, yours or someone else's, can bring comfort even when the world feels heavy. Let that comfort sink deeper into you now. Let the story become a soft echo in the background of your mind. Let your breath guide you downward into deeper rest. Every inhale brings calm. Every exhale releases the weight of the day. Your thoughts drift farther apart, quieter, slower, until they no longer ask to be followed. The story continues to move with you, but gently, like a hand resting on your back, steady and warm. There is nothing to remember, nothing to process, nothing to hold on to. Just this gentle unfolding of night, this slow descent into peace, this weightless moment where you feel more like a drifting feather than a body. You are drifting deeper now, deeper into stillness, deeper into warmth, deeper into the soft embrace of sleep. And now, as the quiet of the night folds even deeper around you, the story softens to the point where it feels less like spoken words and more like a gentle presence drifting beside you. Everything is slowed. Your breath, your thoughts, the subtle rhythm of your body, and the world beyond your room seems to fade into a soft, distant blur. The memories of his life drift like thin clouds across a pale moon, forming and dissolving without urgency, without weight. Only a calm, warm glow remains. Long after his final curtain fell, people continued to discover him in unexpected places. A grocery store late at night, with dim lights and quiet aisles, might play one of his softer songs through aging speakers. A young person walking alone might pause for a moment, listening without knowing why it touched them so deeply. Something in the tone, something warm, sincere, almost fatherly, settles inside their chest like a tiny flame against cold air. Even without context, without history, the emotion speaks clearly, threading through the quiet space between thought and feeling. In another part of the world, perhaps in a crowded cafe where conversations blend into a soft, constant hum, one of his romantic ballads begins to play. A couple pauses mid-sentence. A stranger smiles to themselves. Someone working behind the counter stops for a heartbeat, listening to that gentle, steady voice smooth out the rough edges of their day. The cafe feels a little smaller, a little warmer, as though someone turned the lights down just slightly to make the space kinder. His music creates that effect, shrinking the world into something tender and familiar. Sometimes his songs play in moments of grief too, in living rooms where families gather to remember someone they love. His voice often becomes the quiet backdrop to shared stories, tears, and soft smiles. Not because the music fixes anything, but because it holds space for emotion without asking anything in return. It simply sits beside the heaviness, offering comfort through tone and breath, through the slow rise and fall of melodies shaped by a lifetime of feeling. That is the softness he carried, a softness that did not fade with time, but seemed to deepen, becoming almost medicinal in the way it soothed people. His voice could walk into the most delicate corners of the heart without knocking, without pushing, without disturbing the fragile stillness found there. Instead, it rested lightly, gently, like a hand placed over another in wordless understanding. And now, as you lie here, letting the night pull you deeper into its calm, you can feel how the story has become less a narrative and more a form of companionship. You are not simply listening, you are floating the way a leaf floats along a slow river, guided by currents too gentle to feel, but too steady to resist. Your breath drifts in and out, smooth and warm, each exhale easing you further into the soft cradle of sleep. If you imagine his presence now, a presence shaped not by fame, but by warmth, it appears in the gentlest way. Perhaps he sits in a quiet room, lit only by a lamp's faint glow, humming softly to himself. Perhaps he stands on a balcony, overlooking a still, sleeping city, his silhouette framed by the glow of distant lights. Or perhaps he simply exists as a warm feeling beside you, not visible or audible, but sensed, like the memory of someone who once made the world feel softer. The details no longer matter. What matters is the comfort that remains, the way his story blends into the quiet stretch of your own night, easing tension from your body, loosening thought from your mind. His life becomes a backdrop, a gentle landscape your mind can wander through without effort, a landscape of soft lights, slow music, warm rooms, and peaceful spaces where time stretches like a long, deep breath. Feel yourself drifting further into that landscape now, your breath long, your body heavy, your thoughts distant, muted, drifting like warm smoke, disappearing into the dark. There is no need to hold on to the story anymore. It is holding you, softly, warmly, patiently, like a gentle lullaby that understands exactly how to guide you toward rest. Let your eyelids grow heavier. Let your mind float. Let the night carry you. You are safe. You are calm. You are dissolving into sleep with every breath. And now, as the night settles into its quietest hour, the story becomes lighter than breath, drifting through your mind like a soft ribbon carried by gentle wind. The world outside has faded completely into darkness, and the edges of your thoughts blur into a calm, velvety haze. Everything slows. The pulse in your chest, the rhythm of your breath, the movement of time itself, all sinking into a peaceful stillness that wraps around you like warm wool on a winter night. Long after his journey ended, the memory of his presence continued to exist in places people rarely notice, small, delicate moments where life grows soft and unguarded. A quiet bookstore, just before closing, its aisles bathed in amber light, might play one of his songs low enough to blend with the hush of turning pages. A stranger browsing the shelves pauses, their hand resting on a book, as the music settles into their chest like a gentle reminder of something they once loved. The notes drift slowly, echoing through the quiet store like a warm whisper, creating a sense of peace that lingers even after the door closes behind them. In another corner of the world, a mother rocks her child to sleep in a dim room, humming along to one of his tender melodies. The child's eyelids flutter with drowsiness, and the mother's voice fades into the soft glow of the nightlight. The music becomes a bridge between generations, between a life long lived and one just beginning. The room feels safe, layered with warmth, as if the melody itself knows how to cradle the tiny heartbeat resting against her chest. And somewhere else, in a quiet apartment high above a sleeping city, a person sits on a balcony wrapped in a blanket. The sky stretches wide and dark, stars barely visible through the soft glow of the city below. They sip warm tea, holding the cup close to their chest, and play one of his gentler songs on their phone. The sound is faint, carried away by the breeze almost as soon as it forms, but it brings them comfort. It reminds them that the world, no matter how large or lonely it sometimes feels, is held together by small, tender moments like this, moments lit by music that has outlived its maker. His legacy became a quiet companion to people who needed something steady to rest against. Not loud, not demanding, not trying to impress, just present, like a soft light left on in the hallway for someone who is afraid of the dark. His voice carried a kind of honesty that touched the fragile places inside people, not to expose them, but to soothe them, to remind them that vulnerability is not weakness, but the doorway through which connection enters. And now, lying here, you can feel how the story has shifted from narrative to atmosphere, becoming part of the room around you. The air feels heavier with calm. Your breath has fallen into a slow, effortless rhythm. Your body feels warm, heavy, and ready to be carried deeper into rest. The words drift through your mind like waves that barely touch the shore before sliding back into the ocean of sleep. You don't need to follow the story anymore. You don't need to think about him, or music, or memory. Everything is fading, blending, dissolving into softness. Your limbs grow warmer, heavier, as though sinking into a bed of clouds. Your breath deepens without effort, each exhale carrying away tension you didn't even know you were holding. Your eyelids become velvety and slow, settling halfway closed before drifting completely. The room around you grows dimmer, quieter, as if the night itself is tucking you in. Imagine now that his presence, no longer a figure, no longer a story, becomes a faint glow in the distance, not bright, not sharp, but comforting, like a lantern guiding someone through a quiet forest, like the last soft note of a lullaby fading into silence. It doesn't pull you forward or hold you back. It simply exists, steady and warm, allowing you to drift at your own pace. The night holds you now. The calm wraps around you. The soft memory of his voice lingers like warm air in a gentle room. There is nothing left to remember, nothing left to carry, nothing left to stay awake for, just the deep, slow descent into a sleep so soft it feels like floating, a sleep that welcomes you with open arms, a sleep that carries you far beyond thought and sound. Let yourself drift, let yourself fall, let yourself dissolve into the warmth of the night. You are safe, you are calm, You are free to rest as deeply as you need. And now, as the night settles into an even deeper stillness, the story becomes almost formless, drifting like a gentle fog through the quiet spaces of your mind. Everything is soft now. The air, the silence, the rhythm of your breath. Even the thoughts that once moved restlessly through your mind have slowed, stretching into long, weightless shapes that dissolve before they fully form. There is a sense that the world has exhaled, that the darkness around you has softened into something warm and familiar. Long after he left the world behind, his presence continued to ripple softly through the lives of people who never met him, not through noise or spectacle, but through moments so gentle and ordinary that they barely announce themselves at all. A dim hallway in a hotel where a late-night cleaning staff hums along to a melody playing from a portable radio. A solitary jogger moving quietly through a sleeping neighborhood. Earbuds carrying the soft warmth of an old recording. A cab driver guiding a passenger through empty midnight streets. The low hum of his voice drifting from the car's speakers like a companion to the silence. Small, simple, tender moments. That is where his legacy found new life. Not in applause, not in headlines, but in the quiet places where people are their truest selves. The spaces between exhaustion and rest, between memory and forgetting, between feeling alone and realizing that something warm is still holding you. Imagine a train moving across the country through the darkness. Inside, the lights are dim, casting a soft gold hue across the faces of passengers half asleep. Someone looking out the window sees their reflection fading into the passing night. They put on a pair of headphones, scroll through songs, and pause when they see his name. The first notes begin, gentle and patient, and the moving world outside suddenly feels slower, softer, safer. The traveler leans back, closing their eyes, letting the music cradle them through the long stretch of night. Or imagine an elderly couple sitting together on their porch just after sunset. They don't talk much anymore, not because they have nothing to say, but because they have learned the comfort of simply being. The husband turns on a small speaker beside them, and one of his slow, sweet songs begins to fill the warm air. The couple holds hands, their fingers interlaced loosely, as though their bodies remember the dance steps of youth, even if their legs no longer do. The music moves through them, past them, around them, becoming the soft pulse of the evening. They breathe slower. They sit closer. They let the moment rest between them like a warm blanket. That was always the quiet power of his voice, the ability to turn ordinary moments into little sanctuaries of emotion, the ability to make the world feel smaller and kinder, wrapped in a gentle haze of nostalgia. Even now, years after he's gone, that softness continues to reach people in ways he never got to witness. A young person discovering him for the first time, an older person rediscovering memories they thought had faded, someone somewhere feeling understood by a voice that never met them, yet somehow knows exactly how to soothe them. And as you lie here, you can feel that same soothing quality move through your own body. Your breath has fallen into a deep, steady pattern, slow enough to feel like the rhythm of a lullaby. Your shoulders release their remaining tension. Your legs sink heavier into the bed. Your mind drifts into a peaceful openness where thoughts become sparse and distant, Like stars scattered across a dark sky, you are entering a softer place now, a place where awareness loosens and sleep rises gently to meet you, a place where the story becomes less important than the feeling it leaves behind, a feeling of warmth, of comfort, of release. His life becomes a quiet backdrop to your rest, fading into an atmosphere that holds you with tender patience. There is no need to remember anything, no need to follow a thread, no need to stay awake. Imagine now that the last traces of his memory drift through a vast, peaceful landscape illuminated only by moonlight. Soft hills roll beneath a sky painted with pale silver clouds. A river flows slowly, its surface smooth, reflecting the faint glow of the moon. The air is cool and gentle, carrying nothing but stillness. His presence lingers here, not as a figure, but as a warm sensation, like the soft glow of a lantern left on at night to guide someone home. You walk through this landscape effortlessly, as though your feet barely touch the ground. There is no destination, no urgency, only movement guided by calm. The grass bends softly beneath you. The sky shifts slowly above you. The river hums with a low, soothing whisper that blends with the rhythm of your breath. You are drifting farther into this quiet space, drifting deeper into the softness of night, drifting away from thought and memory, drifting into the deep, warm cradle of sleep. There is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to resist. Everything is gentle now. Everything is slow. Everything is peaceful. Let your breath fall even slower. Let your body sink even deeper. Let your mind float like a feather on warm air. The story is still here, but only as a quiet echo, a guide, a comfort, a warm hand resting lightly on your heart. And you are ready to fall asleep. You are already falling, gently, peacefully, completely.